共识。
One China.
Utterly defeat any attempt towards Taiwan independence and work it.
That's the
英文 so the Chinese version says will smash, destroy, complete and total destruction of anybody who seeks independence for Taiwan.
Wow.
But it's not reflected in the English version.
Wow.
英文里面没有那个坚决粉碎这个，他用了一个更软的一个词语，就是我要 defeat， 就是打败。中文是坚决粉碎。
RCCP 的八辈祖宗真的是，你们太他妈 low 了。这小王子今天 this can translate. You look, they lie.
Yeah.
They even know, but no Chinese. 99% no don't know English, Chinese.
But here's the bigger point. Not one American news service. Everybody's just taken. I haven't seen one peep. They've just taken the Chinese. They've taken the CCP's version and said, okay, this is the version. Remember, most of them speak Mandarin. The American officials and the European officials. Nobody sit there and go, hey, that's not the same thing they actually were saying about smashing Taiwan or anybody stood up. Here, it's very gentle. Like class struggle.
That's why
the West is I mean, I pointed the people that know understand that they lied in the two translations, but not one peep. There's not one. New York Times hasn't said it. Financial Times hasn't said it. CNN. Where's Fareed Zakaria? He hasn't said it.
This is what I want to hear. 100 years ago, right?
Yeah.
China Communist Party is the registered is just 50
members.
Now it's the 95 million. That's a totally lie. I think more than 50%, 70% people, they don't want to join the party. They just buy no choice, one party, no vote, no choice for the life, for the family. So it's 50. Now, new federal state, they want how much people?
Oh, it had to be a million?
Yeah, that's
millions, at least millions.
That's millions, right?
Yeah.
That's the 50 is 100 years ago.
Right.
Now we 1 million
Right.
is after 100 years.
Right.
Now we 1 years old, new federal state. Who can win?
Right.
This is the lie, right? This is
Hold it. 100 years of founding Communist Party is still in its prime. Trying to
那
convince
我又
us
爬不
all.
到你才睡，这就是啊，兄弟姐妹们，大家好，
This is
大家好
this is 1984 New Speak.
Yes, yeah, new thought.
New thought, new
thinking,
thinking, yeah.
兄弟姐妹们，大家好啊！今天7月4号下午，由我和小王子班农先生再次回到了 GTV 和大家直播。那么今天同样是阳光明媚这个纽约一派这个阳光明媚的绿色盈盈后面的景观实在是太漂亮了然后在我们后面就是川普的大楼，还有时代华纳，还有原 CAN 中心是美国的纽约的唯一的一个叫 Columbus Circle 的一个地方。今天上午呢，我们就在这个新的盖特办公室直播，和班农先生和小王子。小王子的翻译今天上午成了亮点从早上到现在，所有人国内的朋友都发了信息，国内的深夜，小王子如何的帅，英文如何的好这个是得到了一片赞誉。这就是新中国联邦人就像 Q 妹被访谈中说出发自内心的话，当你在加入新中国联邦以后，你的努力和你的优点会得到应有的尊重和上升的机会。而共产党拼拉底线，互害互伤，让所有的最坏的人和最 low 的人走到前线去。而且你越都拼了拉底线，而且永远没有公平的机会。那么今天我们在这里跟班农先生，你看从早上6点多钟班农先生起床到现在，他从来没离开这个办公室Jason Miller 他们所有的人，美国的朋友这里没有人离开办公室说我回去，我刚才回去的时候简单的运动了一下子，换上了休闲装因为我还有另外一个视频会议，所以说这就是今天早上现在发生了很多事情。我们现在有那班农先生，我们说一说，有一会儿班农先生说从早上到现在我们直播完以后都发生了什么样的事情，在盖特还有国际社会投资领域社交媒体领域还有我们的被黑客以后发现什么事情我们说一下，请这个小王子先给班农先生翻译一下。
So Mao said it's a beautiful day. We're here with on the Columbus Circle behind us, the CNN Time Warner Square, Time Warner building. Miles complimented me on my translations this morning. He said, just like Q May, the singer who helped make the national anthem, said in an interview that if you join the new Federal State of China, it is a platform that will amplify what you do good and help you cover your shortcomings. But in the Chinese Communist Party, it's a zero-sum game. They push out the worst of people, and then there's absolutely no fairness in their system. And Mr. Miles also commented that, Mr. Bannon has been up from 6 a.m. until now, so has Mr. Jason Miller, and all of the people here, Chinese and American included. Nobody has left the office. Everybody's here been grinding on the initial launch of Getter. Miles said he, briefly left today to work out a little bit and then to change. He also has some meetings to do. And then now we're going to move on, and Mr. Bannon and Mr. Miles is going to talk about, since this morning, what's happening with Getter, what's going on with the investors of Getter, what's going on with us being hacked, and then just update everybody on the news since this morning.
Well, I think from the perspective of people in the United States, Getter's had a fabulous start. The interest, the people that are posting, many news organizations. And there's still bugs to work out, so it's a little slow onboarding. Some people are having a time, you can tell. But, as a participant, as someone that's just putting content up there, I can tell you that it's been a great experience, and I think people are loving the experience so far, what they've seen. Now, the CCP and others have tried to, hack us and slow us down, but everything's, in due course that we've worked through it. I think that shows you the engineering team is top-notch. But everything that I've heard from people who are using it or trying to get on and use it is just fantastic. Now, obviously, it's taken a little longer to get on, but that's all because there's so many people trying to get on. And I keep seeing that we're number 3 in the Apple, U.S. social media apps. We're number 10 overall, and we're the only new entrant. All the other ones have been in the top 50, have been there forever. So you just see the demand, the pent-up demand, to really have a platform for conservatives throughout the world that are not going to be deplatformed is pretty overwhelming. And I can also tell you many people that I know Jason and some of the other people involved here. I've had so many hedge fund people, investors, just voluminous calls. Everybody calling me, how do I invest? And I was saying that's not going to be an option. But thanks for your interest. But people see the possibility of this being a very big platform and something that's a big commercial venture. So I think on 3 parts. Number 1, an overwhelming interest of people are trying to get involved and finally have something that can compete with the tech oligarchs. Number 2 is the hacks and everything like that, to me, is a positive in showing that the CCP and others know that this is going to be a real platform. And then the third is just obviously the commercial and business advertising and investment community. It's just like, how do I advertise? How do I get involved? Can we be sponsors? Can we invest money? So I think it's going to be for the management team, which is really powerful. It's both an American and a Chinese American, management team. And so it's pretty interesting. And the guys, obviously, the people have their hands full, but they're working through it, and they'll be here every day.
班农先生说，从今天早上一直到现在，他认为整个盖特的这个表现是非常完美的，非常好的。他说，虽然说我们有一些 bugs， 然后有一些漏洞，有一些技术的问题，然后可能导致有些用户注册我们平台的时候可能会速度比较慢一些，但是他说这是非常正常的，因为有大量的新用户涌入了我们的平台。然后他说，这个虽然说有很多这个黑客，他想要黑客我们的这个平台，这都是正常的，因为他证明了整个共产党以及这个科技寡头巨头们，他们对我们整个盖特新平台的他们的害怕。然后呢，这个班农先生再次称赞了整个我们盖特平台的所有的员工，尤其是工程师团队，说他们非常非常的优秀。然后第三个，班农先生说，我们现在的盖特呢，在整个社交媒体，在苹果商店的社交媒体排名是第3，然后在整个苹果所有的这个免费软件，在苹果商店的排名是第10，并且是唯一一个在前10里新的软件，其他9个所有软件都是已经推出来时间很长的一个软件。 然后他说现在这个证明了这个我们整个盖特平台在市场上巨大的影响力和市场对我们强烈的需要，尤其是很多保守主义者，他们在这个脸书这些平台把他们屏蔽了之后，他们没有任何平台可去，所以他们必须也只能来到我们的盖特。然后班农先生说有非常多的人给他打电话，要求要投资盖特，这其中包括了家族基金呀、这个对冲基金呀，很多的这些基金之前都不理我们，现在都要打电话要投资盖特，然后班农先生都说不好意思，都没有机会了。然后呢，班农先生说最后就有3个事情，第一个就是说今天的这个盖特的上线成功证明了，第一，整个盖特市场和用户对盖特巨大的需求。第二个呢，证明了他们对 CCP 和这些科技巨头对我们的黑客呢，证明了整个他们对我们的恐惧和对我们所宣扬的言论自由的恐惧。第三个，它证明了盖特巨大的商业价值和未来的投资价值。
I'm principally here as a content provider, and I want to be very specific about why Getter is such a tremendous opportunity. Why I'm so enthusiastic that this team Jason Miller and his team have released it, is that, let's step back for a second. I am permanently sanctioned by the Chinese Communist Party. I think I'm the only civilian in American history who's ever been sanctioned. At 4 minutes into the Biden administration, 4 minutes after President Trump was gone, 4 minutes after 12 noon on the 20th of January, which is constitutionally when a new president has to take the oath of office, Mike Pompeo, Matt Pottinger, Dr. Peter Navarro, and Stephen K. Bannon, along with some other people, were sanctioned by the Chinese Communist Party. That means I can have no involvement with any Chinese companies. I cannot go to mainland China. And the thing that obviously is most upsetting to me, I can't go to Hong Kong, which is my favorite city. But I'm proud I'm sanctioned, right? But that's Chinese Communist Party, which is a transnational criminal organization. I'm also permanently banned from Twitter, and I'm permanently banned for YouTube. And let's say why I'm permanently banned. Permanently banned for Twitter because I criticized Dr. Fauci about the CCP virus. I criticized FBI Director Wray because of his lack of pursuit of the infiltration of America by the Chinese Communist Party. And because, along with G News and GTV, we put up on Twitter, Jack Maxey put up Hunter Biden's hard drive from hell. That's why Twitter took us down. They didn't want the American people. I was banned from Twitter before the election because they didn't want any aspect of the hard drive from hell to be watched, right? I'm also permanently banned from YouTube. How did that happen? The great Rudy Giuliani came on, and what was he talking about? Exactly what they're finding out in Arizona and Georgia today. He said Arizona's corrupt, and you're going to find out that it's lies, and we're just going to be proven in about 2 weeks it's all lies, what happened out there. President Trump won. Same in Georgia. So the tech oligarchs who are in business with CCP sanctions me, and then Twitter takes me down permanently, and YouTube takes me down permanently. So as a provider, and here's the beauty of it, the war room today is 3 times the size of what it was when I was sanctioned and when it was taken down. Why is that? Because the Chinese people, the diaspora of the Chinese people and the American people want facts and truth. They think CNN, they think the New York Times, everybody that kowtows to the CCP, they think something's wrong. They want to get more information news. And the Chinese people, they know, right? So that's why Getter provides a platform for people to say, hey, people are adults. It's a marketplace, and I love the tagline. It's a marketplace of ideas, right? A marketplace of ideas. And people should know the American people and the Chinese people throughout their history have always gravitated to ideas, particularly new ideas, right? And that's what the CCP, with their tech oligarch buddies at Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, don't want that to happen. And so that's why Getter, and this is what I'm getting from everybody that's a content provider. And people from Europe, people from Brazil, many people I know that are Chinese, right, are saying this is so amazing. You provide a platform that people can basically argue it out, and it's going to be huge. And you don't shut people down and deplatform, and you don't listen to the CCP. So that's why, to me today, and I'm so proud, I realized it kicked off on 1 July for the symmetry with the CCP's 100th anniversary, but as an American to open on July 4th, our Independence Day. This is like a second Independence Day for the American 老百姓。
班农先生说他在盖特上
翻译的神。
班农先生说他在盖特上主要是作为一个 content provider， 作为一个大 V， 一个这个有影响力的这么一个人物。然后他说他非常非常高兴，非常激动能够来到这个盖特的平台上。班农先生说，在这个1月20号，1月20号中午12点后，法定的拜登总统成为总统的4分钟之后，他皮特纳瓦罗先生，还有蓬佩奥先生，还有那个 Pottinger 先生，全部都被共产党这个制裁了。这也就是说，他不能再踏入中国的这个国土一步。但他最难受的是，因为他不能再进入香港了，因为香港是班农先生最爱的城市。然后他说，但是他非常荣幸能够被中国共产党给制裁，因为他认为这是一个巨大的荣耀。然后他说，他在推特上被永久的被永久的被推特踢出了。原因是什么呢？是因为他这个批评了福奇还有这个 FBI 的这个局长雷，他在整个在中共病毒上和对中共对美国的蓝金黄计划上的不作为，所以因此他在推特上被这个永久踢出了。同时呢，他也在这个 YouTube 上油管上被永久踢出了，因为他这个揭露了这个在亚利桑那州还有乔治亚州的整个这个选举的被操控的这个事情，和朱利安尼先生一起，他们两个都在这些这个社交媒体上被永久的剔除了。所以说他看到这些所有的这些科技巨头跟共产党在一起，把他们剔除之后。班农战斗史反而今天的这个规模是当时他被踢出这些平台的规模的3倍之大。为什么呢？因为他说全世界所有的爱好自由、爱好和平、爱好言论自由的人都认识到了现在整个科技巨头他们在言论管控方面的整个垄断。所以说这个盖特的这个平台是非常重要的，因为人们意识到这一点之后，他们都会来到盖特的这个平台之上。然后班农先生最后说今天呢是这个7月4号是美国的独立日，他认为今天不仅是美国独立日，由于盖特的发布呢，它更是美国老百姓的第2个独立日，因为今天证明了美国老百姓能够从科技巨头的这个言论管控中独立出来、自由出来。
brother, you see, it's very important. I hope you give share, today is we are first time after broadcast. It's many people I listen call you, ask you about the Gator, nice plan, business plan. Also in Europe, you see Catholic and Christian is supposed to us. This is
I think Miles brings up a good point. Is that it's and I want to make the analogy to Fox News. When Fox News launched, now Fox News is worth, I don't know, by itself, $35 or $40 billion, $50 billion, thereabouts. It changes, but roughly billions of dollars. When Fox News started in the 90s, Roger Ailes went to Murdoch with
Clinton, the blue jeans?
Yeah. The scandal. But he went to them with a simple proposition that CNN and MSNBC and AB, all the news things, nobody had a news channel for conservatives. Very simple. Nobody had ever thought of that. And that's why Fox News today is dominated in cable news ratings for 25 or 30 years. And it's worth, from zero, it's worth, I don't know, $40, $50 billion. Right? So the Getter investment thesis has been pretty simple. That half of the world, and particularly in Europe and the United States, Brazil, Canada, Japan, Australia, I would even say India.
How many people is it?
Well, if you just take, it's just half. It's basically half the.
How many members?
Well, it's easily over in the first world where the incomes are the highest. If you take global income, 80% is in the developed nations, right? 80%, although less than a seventh of the world's population, but there's at least 750 million to a billion market for Getter, for potential social media from people who just don't like Facebook, Google, don't like Twitter, that don't like these operations, and they don't want to be a part of it, or what their thoughts are is considered too radical or too against the prevailing globalist mentality is that they'll be deplatformed. And so the market here is just like, the analogy is just like Fox in the 70s. Now, the problem that has been today is a very simple problem. Both the engineering talent and the capital was never around to actually build robust platforms that are like Silicon Valley or like the CCP have. Those platforms have two things. They have tremendous engineering and technological talent and programming talent, coupled with deep pocket venture capitalists that are prepared to take the time to do that. And as well-meaning, as good as the conservatives that tried to build these platforms, the platforms right now are too undercapitalized and just not competitive with Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, although people are making strides. Mike Lindell's making strides. Rumble's making strides. Other people are making strides, but they would admit they've got a long way to go. In Getter, which is obviously very targeted at the Twitter-type audience, here you have something, I think, and this is why so much excitement, people believe it's 20% better. At least 20% better. Crisper, easier to use, more characters, the attributes of the video for 10 minutes, all that will be, it happens to be, and that's the wow. Particularly people here in the West, in America, is not used to seeing this, and now they're getting on there and they're going, wow, right? Is this thing real? And so the investment thesis is that essentially half the world believes it's cut out of, or if they actually say what they really think, they'll be deplatformed. Half. And if you take that in the industrialized nations, that's a massive market. Then if you take the rest of the world, and particularly, I happen to think that the biggest market's going to be the Chinese people, the diaspora of the Chinese people, and inside mainland China. And I think that's why the CCP hates Getter. And they're going to try to hack it or have their other hacker, the Wu Mao 50 Cent Army, and the one hacks and all the professional hackers they work with to try to shut this down. It's obvious if Getter continues on with this attraction of people and advertisers and sponsors and capital, you can't stop it, and that's going to be that platform. Miles Guo told me 2 years ago. And once again, when Miles tells my crazy uncle Miles Guo, when he tells me something, I normally laugh at him, "Oh, Miles, that's not true." He says, social media is more powerful than nuclear weapons because nobody uses nuclear weapons like we use. Social media can shut up a president of the United States. 2 years ago, he said that. 2 years ago. And look what happened to President Trump, right? So that's why Getter, and I think that's why today on the 4th of July here, you've seen, and it's not a big news day, but you've just seen people, I know the most sophisticated people that use Twitter are saying, wow, the Jason Miller and the team have really delivered something.
班农先生说：“你看今天的福克斯新闻，它的估值大概在400到500亿美金。但是在90年代的时候，当这个福克斯新闻刚刚发家的时候，它的价值是0。但福克斯新闻为什么能发展到今天的福克斯新闻呢？是因为它当时90年代发家的时候，他说，没有人为保守主义者，没有人为那些不能发声的人做一个平台。那么福克斯新闻就打造了这个平台。所以说现在福克斯新闻在有线新闻里面，这个排名都是遥遥领先的。那么班农先生说，你看盖特它的平台是非常大的，因为至少世界上有一半的这些人，他们在今天是这个左派媒体这个横行的今天这个世界，他们没有一个自己的平台，他们不可以自由的发声。那么这些人呢，班农先生说，在第一世界里，80%的这个世界的 GDP 都是在这个已经发展的国家、发展中国家，发展国家里面，第一世界里面。大概这些人，大概班农先生估了一下，至少是7.5亿到10亿的人，这么一个市场。然后他说，这个现在就说你要建好一个这个非常好的社交媒体，你需要强大的这个科技团队、编程团队、工程师团队，还有一个就是你需要非常多的资本。他说，现在你去看一下很多其他的这些这个保守派主义者、右派主义者，他们所做的这些媒体平台呢，他们的这个第一资本不够，第二他们的科技、他们的技术非常落后。 他说，但是你看盖特为什么这么厉害呢？因为很多人都今天跟我说，盖特至少要比推特要强20%。无论是说他是这个发文章能够发777字，还是说他发视频能够发10分钟，还是说他整个的流畅度和他设计的这个现代度都要强于推特。所以说这也是为什么这么多人现在都要投资盖特，都要抢着来加入盖特，就是因为盖特它不仅在在科技上它这个媲美甚至领先于推特，它在资本上更加是有超过推特的很多的这个投资者，大家都非常有兴趣来投资这个盖特。他说未来呢，他认为这个盖特的市场是非常之大的，而盖特最大的市场之一呢就是这个中国，所以他说也是为什么中国共产党这么害怕盖特这个平台。他说文贵先生2年前告诉他一个事情，他说文贵先生2年前说社交媒体的力量远远大于核武器，因为没有人会天天去用核武器，而社交媒体每天都被有人使用。
I want to say something else about the business model. Remember, I'm a content provider. One of the reasons I'm so excited is that because of a year, basically in January of 2020, when I was up here to do the G News, GTV annual broadcast that Miles and I had done for 4 years together, Miles tells me, "Oh no, Chinese New Year's is canceled. there's a virus coming out of there's a SARS virus coming out of China." But the content that we do at the War Room has made the show so big, talking about the virus from the very first day, talking about the election fraud from the very first day, talking about the invasion of the southern border from the very first day, all of talking about hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin and getting the best scientists in the world. All that's banned. All that's banned. That's forbidden speech. You know, Prince said earlier before we talked about it, it's like Orwellian. That's bad thought. You know, that's in the America that's celebrating the 4th of July with our founding fathers, right? The disgrace is that we have companies that Americans put money into that will absolutely ban you. The power of Getter is that all of those ideas can now be discussed in open forum, and you can discuss them and put news stories up, interviews, and nobody can stop you. Number one. Number two, Fox, let's go back to the Fox model. When Fox came on in the 1990s, the market for cable news was very small. CNN had a very small audience. MSNBC had not been created. It was very small. Fox welcomed in and exploded the market for cable news. Why? People finally said, hey, I understand what they're talking about. I agree with that. And more people watch, and that's why Fox got so big. People who had never watched cable news in their life and would never think about it start to watch Fox. Getter's going to be the exact same thing. Right now, the reason people are shocked, Twitter's not that big. Twitter only has 30 million active users. Why? It's so snarky and so presumptuous and so arrogant, and the people on there, they know it all, right? They know it. Here's what they know. They don't know anything. They've been wrong on the CCP. They're wrong on the CCP virus. They're wrong on the election. They're wrong on the invasion of the United States. On every category and everything where the data and the science and the evidence shows thinking men and women throughout the world, right? Because you don't see CNN, you don't see anybody on Twitter. Do you see Jack Dorsey condemning the Chinese Communist Party? Do you see Zuckerberg condemning the Chinese Communist Party? Do you see anybody condemning the Chinese Communist Party? No. And here's what Getter's going to show you. This market is going to explode because it's going to be very welcoming. Right. You can have different ideas. You can state those ideas as long as they're not, racist and hateful and everything like that, but you can state them. Even if they're mean, you can state them. But it's going to be welcoming. And this is why you're going to see, I believe, just like Fox News, boom. You're going to see Getter, boom. And Twitter's going to be here and Getter, and that's what they fear. Trust me. This is why all the stories, remember, the other thing too, all the business press and the tech press, all of it in America for the Chinese people, it's all rigged, okay? The tech guys pay the bills. They do the advertising. Every tech thing is going to be all over us, all over Getter. Every business thing is going to be, look at them. They got porn on it, or they're getting hacked every 2 seconds. That's all going to happen. Why? Because now they have a gun right at them, and it's loaded in the chamber, right? And saying, hey, guess what? Your days of being oligarchs are over. How do you destroy oligarchs? You take away their means of control. And for the first time, the little guy now has a platform that the little guy can talk about. Remember, they shut up Donald Trump, the most powerful position on earth is the President of the United States. And the most powerful man we've had in that position since Ronald Reagan is Donald Trump, and they shut him down and quieted, right? That game is over. Now, you're not going to hear anything positive about Getter except on Getter and on War Room, etc., because they're going to say, no, criminals, bad guys, pornography, bad things, all of it. But that means they're scared, right? And so that's why the business model here is totally different, because the Getter audience is going to be huge, because people sit there going, well, I never really used it, but man, I see all these things I kind of relate to, and I want to be part of it. And the Getter team is out there reaching out to people to say, come on, try it, get on board. You can get your new services, you can get everything, and that is going to be a game changer. That's a game changer. It's just not going to be the technological elite in Silicon Valley. That's the power of Getter.
班农先生说他是做媒体的，然后他在战斗史做的这么成功，他之前做媒体这么成功，为什么？包括他讲的这个关于病毒啊，关于羟氯喹啊，所有的这些事情，为什么他这个媒体做的成功？是因为他说的这些事情是真正老百姓大家关注的事情，是事实，是最接地气的事情，是能让最多人大家真正接受的这些事实。然后他说，为什么现在这些科技寡头，他们这么害怕盖特呢？是因为他们意识到了盖特一旦发展起来，它的未来、它的前景是不可估量的，它会在很短的时间内会超越推特，甚至干掉推特。他说，大家没有意识到，推特其实它并不是那么大的一个公司，推特它只有大概3000万的活跃的用户，那么盖特未来潜在的用户是至少十几亿甚至更多的几十亿的这个潜在的用户，因为大家在盖特的平台上能够真正的言论自由的去发表你所说的言论，可能这个在盖特上大家说的言论，你和我或者他和他之间，可能大家都不互相同意，但是盖特这个平台它永远不会因为我和你政治观点而不同，而我就把你从我的这个平台上踢出去，像跟推特不一样，推特和这些所有的这些科技寡头，他们所创造的平台都是非常傲慢的，他们你只要你的政治思想你和他们完全不同，不是完全统一的话，他们就立刻就把你踢出去了。所以说他对我们非常害怕。然后班农先生提到说，在未来呢，你们会看到就是 CNN 啊、推特呀，所有的这些媒体，他们都会在不断的攻击盖特，他们会说，哎呀，盖特这个平台上充满了色情啊，充满了暴力啊，充满了种族主义啊。为什么他们会这么说呢？是因为他们真正恐惧我们，他们害怕我们，他们才会这么说的。
也蛮难受，你把口罩摘下来，我们不介意，太难受了，这样。
没事。
以后嘴给起泡了一会儿，如果你自己不害怕的话，你就可以摘下来，就怕我们俩啊。你不用担心我们俩，你可以摘下来啊。
好，
太难受。This mask make hers. You know, here's too painful. Yeah.
Too handsome.
Yeah.
Now the camera's just going to focus on him.
Even CCP here, no, you need not a mask. You need a big head here. Xi Jinping here said you're too handsome.
Yeah.
Look, 不得立刻呛。Bad.
Sitting back.
Hand neither far away. That's crazy.
So embarrassing.
That's crazy.
So stupid.
我要现在要打断，叫小王子要休息一下。I want her little break. 我要问大家一个问题啊，你们在这回答啊。现在班农先生是他过去这么年来唯一是在社交媒体上有自己的账号了，唯一的，他没有过推特账号。Stephen Campbell never have a Twitter account. Never have a personal and a YouTube account. Never have the Facebook account.
Never.
First time used in the Getter personal Steve Campbell. Now yesterday, it joined the maybe 2 days. It have the banker account. No, it's the Getter account called Steve Campbell. How many followers? Everyone tell me. Do you know how many? I ever love the Little Prince. Him not Little Prince, Fake Prince. I ever love Prince. That's good.
Yeah.
So, 班农先生 47K. Miles Guo 13,000K.
You are your little brother.
You know, that's why I want you to know. This brother, not talk about you and me. Okay? We talk what? Before even Stephen King Bannon War Room, you look at the followers. 3 years ago, Twitter told him, "This stole your data. You never really trust me 100%." They inside the CCP tell me, Stephen King Bannon, even the interview, broadcast, they are because you decrease your data.
Yes,
That's
yes.
globally.
Your numbers, right? So you never looks like
They
that.
not
Yeah.
only do in America, they globally.
Yes.
You in Italy.
Yes.
I see
Yes.
they are go to
Yes.
600,000.
This is a huge point.
Next week, what is crazy? It's 100,000. Why is it the lowest 300,000? I ask Beijing and say, everywhere, even Steve Kimbano, decrease your data.
And this is the other power of Getter, is that you can't get shadow banned.
Yeah.
Any of the ways they try to suppress, even if they don't throw you off, they do everything to suppress, particularly anti-CCP and anti-party of Davos, elites.
兄弟姐妹们，你们明白我刚才说班农啊 ？I'm forgot I speak Mandarin. Sorry, I'm English too good.
No.
Too good English. That was no problem. 我要给大家讲的是，班农仅2天加入了我们的盖特。班农从来没有Twitter、YouTube 账号，就是将近5万，我才1万3。班农先生2、3年前，我告诉他，我说你所有在全球的演讲，你的所有的数据都会被传开。他就半信半疑，我估计啊，我不知道什么感觉。为什么他有次意大利演讲，我看着就是40几万，等我再回来，迅速间就成了10几万。我觉得不正常。我马上问这个咱们的3部的哥们儿啊，我说班农为什么他讲完以后，竟然才少30万？他说只要他讲发声的平台，包括电视台，一律给他盖特的数据。为什么？不仅是中国共产党的这样，连美国的这些极左的。还有这个所有的这极左派都要干掉他，我这就有点纳了闷了，我有这么疯狂吗？后来我发现他这个战斗是直播，当他是6000个人看的时候呢，我说正常，然后就变成1万的时候就是美国大选，后来最高是3万，我就问人家我到底是谁多少，他实际在线17万，我非常惊讶这件事情，我说这个世界已经疯狂到如此程度。就一个人让你这个世界人联合绞杀，他是班农，他也对没有任何权利，他没有任何一支枪，没有任何政治势力，你们竟然是联合封杀的，这是你只有看到班农先生在福克斯的interview，在 Maria， 那是真实的数据，每次都是最高的，你不觉得这个世界很荒唐吗？这种事情，你就再怎么一定要去发入班农先生的盖特，一定要加班农先生的盖特。
Mr. Mao said, when he was looking at your War Room podcast, right? Normally it would be about 5,000-6,000 people, and then during the election and during the height of the pandemic, it could be, 10,000, 20,000 people watching. But he said the real data is probably north of 170,000 people online simultaneously at the same time. And he said that's when he was really shocked about the absurdity of this because, Mr. Bannon, you have no official title in any government. You do not command any army. You don't carry a gun with you. You're just a populist leader who's out there telling people the ideas and what's really going on in the world, that's exposing truth. But the entire world, not just the Chinese Communist Party, people on the left wing here in America and around the world all come together to shadow ban you in every single possible way. So this is why when you go on Maria's show on Fox News, it's always the top-rated and most watched show on the day for Fox News because it shows your influence. But everybody, not just the CCP, everybody from America, Europe, on the left wing, everybody comes together to shadow ban you, even some people on the conservative side because they fear your influence. And at the end, Mr. Mao called on everybody to follow you and get it because it's the first time you've ever had a social media account.
班农先生只发了4个帖，他的每个帖下面都是几千个转发和留言的。我们的 Justin Mueller 先生就是几百个。这个你们大家都懂社交媒体，都懂这意味着什么？就班农先生的几乎有效率是100%，就是真心观众都是喜欢他的人，几乎没有反对了，99%以上。更重要的事情，班农先生这个5万，你去想想意味着什么啊？他再过一段一定是几百万甚至几千万的。班农先生就直接盖特，就像昨天我们看到直播一样，你任何一个 YouTube 直播、Live Stream 直播，你只要放在盖特上，大家都可以在盖特上看。班农先生未来在任何一个自己拿出来就粘在上面就可以直播了。当然在 GTV 直播、省直播，班农先生就有可能5000万人在线，1亿人在线看他的。这个力量是什么？我要告诉大家啊，当1亿个人看的时候，他最起码是5000万个家庭。 亿万个家庭。这比一场战争都厉害。任何一场战争说这个在地球75亿人口，说有5000万个家庭介入的时候，这是一场毁灭性的战争。这就叫社交媒体比核武器，没有一个核武器可以直接送达5000万人的。你把地球那叫氢弹了，这地球给劈了就大家都完蛋了。只有这个班农先生为什么造成了恐惧，你们懂了吗？我想说啥你知道吗？他的平民主义，就替穷人说话。就世界上不光是共产党，就任何的利益集团沼泽地不希望班农强大。班农他本人都不意识到，他本人绝对不知道。我跟他聊天聊太多，他真的不知道。我从认识班农第一天到今天说过最多的3句话。你不相信，你自己要记住，你是绝对的天主教徒，你是有信仰的，你有上帝的使命。他以为我是忽悠他，就像中国人说有缘分一样。第2句话，我说班农先生，我跟你交往，我啥都不在，我只知道你有这个智慧，你有这个学识，你有这使命，干点共产党。第3件事情，我觉得他的平民主义和他本人啊，这个所有的这个能力，他这种耐力、平头哥的精神，是我觉得个人让我喜欢的。我跟他一起来灭共，啊，让穷人站起来，因为草根老百姓的观念。这3条是我的说最多，因为他的平民主义，也就是咱说的咱今天的爆料革命草根，这个是对所有的利益集团造成的威胁。今天你这个往前3年比较，你知道为什么全世界封杀他？他自己真的不知道。班农先生，你不用他现在说他知道，他一定是忽悠你们，绝对不知道。你可以把这段翻译了。
Mr. Miles Guo said you've only made 4 posts in total on Getter, and each post has thousands of reposts, and it has hundreds, thousands of comments. And Mr. Jason Miller has made hundreds of posts, but doesn't have nearly as much comments or engagement as you do. This shows that the people who follow Mr. Bannon on Getter are 100%, probably 99% supportive of your cause. And he said, you probably don't even realize yourself the influence you have around the people around the globe. And he said, this is the reason this is the case is because of the populism that you represent, because you speak for the Lao Baixing, because you speak for the deplorables. This is why not just the CCP, but special interest group, the global elites from all around the world comes together because they fear you and they fear populism and they fear the little guys, the Lao Baixing, the deplorables. And he said, Mr. Miles Guo said the 3 things he talks to you mostly about is, number 1, he thinks you're a devout Catholic, right? He thinks you're a really faithful man. You believe that there's a higher being, and you believe there is a mission set for you to speak for the deplorables and to do what's right for the little guys, not the big guys. And second, he admired your wisdom, your strategic wisdom in looking and thinking about the big picture. And lastly, he really admired your fight for for populism, for the little guys, and he admired your personal drive and how committed you are to the cause. And then he said, in the future, when Getter grows to be larger, he thinks in a very short period of time you're going to have millions, even tens of millions, maybe even billion followers on Getter. You can pick up Getter, you can pick up GTV and do a live stream, and maybe 50 million people, maybe even 100 million people will watch you simultaneously. And that is why he thinks that social media is more powerful than a nuclear weapon, because, when have you ever seen 100 million people fighting a battle?
Right. I think that this is the part of the political revolution that we're in on a global basis against the world's elite. Remember, the world's elites...
No, sir. I correct you. Not only political revolution. That's religion first.
Yes.
Religion.
A religion that, your rights come from God, not from any government.
Yeah.
But the reason I think this is so powerful, and Getter is going to be the platform for populists and nationalists throughout the world. People want their own countries, but they understand they want the little guy, the common man, to basically have a say-so and to make the decisions. This is what, to me, what's going to take down the CCP is Lao Baixing. Is that the populism in China, populism is coming to China. If you look at this speech they made the other day, of all the lies they told about it, it's like the CCP delivered for the little guy back in 1949, and that's a total lie.
Hold on, later we talk about
but I'm saying the power of the platform.
Very important. Although we are friends, we are brother sister. 班农先生离开白宫，曾经到香港，完全没有遇着他的好哥们儿叫江骚腾。高盛的前 CEO 我也认识，我认识很多年，跟他铁哥们儿， 也曾经劝他要把我遣返得住啊。在清华有个叫桑滕斯学院，就这哥们儿呢啊，贾庆林的孩子在家长大，跟王岐山称叫 brotherly relationship 啊，这兄弟关系。突然在香港教中信的专辑，把班农先生请到北京去，跟王岐山见面。一见面，王岐山过来了，哇，穿着这个西装还挺牛的，几十个人坐在那儿，才跟班农先生聊天。当时是常委啊，跟班农先生聊，一开始正儿八经的君子，突然脸一扭，跟他们就是跟个魔鬼一样，这什么的，你为什么要搞平民主义啊？你什么意思？你什么的平民主义？大家你说这个小子王岐山绝对不是一般人，就是我能看得起的人不多，王岐山是我看得起的人，就是我们交过太多流了，这太多交流了啊！这原来咱不能说实话，现在跟你说实话，交流太多了，这是个魔鬼。他意识到班农先生的平民主义对共产党是致命的伤害，所以他离开白宫，他就让最可信的人桑顿用专机迅速的接到北京，然后叫几十个年轻人，这几十个人都是中纪委后来的所谓的共产党的后备干部啊，来讲平民主义，说这是共产党的威胁。想想那是什么时候？大家想想，2017年，可怕极了。来，小王 ，That's very important.
Mr. Miles Gore said, right after you left the White House, around about 2017, you went to Hong Kong, and unbeknownst to you, your best friend John Bolton from Goldman Sachs,
Thornton.
John Thornton, yeah, put you on a private plane to Beijing, where you had a meeting with Wang Qishan. And everything was going well, and all of a sudden, Wang Qishan turned his face into a devil and asked you, "Why are you doing? Why are you leading this populism, revolution? Why are you speaking up for the little guys?" And Mao said, he's met so many people during his life, and there's very few people he called the worthy enemy, and Wang Qishan is one of them. And he said, Wang Qishan is a very smart man. He understands that populism is lethal to the Chinese Communist Party. And then, and Wang Qishan is a real devil. He sees it, and then he introduced you to a dozen of young people who are supposedly, the CCP's, reserve of talents and whatnot. And then he said that's very important because it shows that, Wang Qishan really understands populism and how lethal it is for the CCP.
100%. It was supposed to be a short meeting. It took several hours. The one thing he had questions of is, tell me about populism. I have to understand populism. So, no, it was his focus.
That's why they scared you.
I think they're afraid of Lao Beijing and American deplorables.
Not only Wang Qishan. Yeah. Wang Qishan, the Wall Street, Hollywood, they together.
Kissinger's best friend.
Kissinger.
Yes.
They are everybody talking
Schwartzman, Larry Fink.
Everybody.
Bloomberg, remember, Bloomberg has the conference that's moved from Beijing down to Singapore, right? They go to Singapore for the conference. Michael Bloomberg flies over and introduces, he says, I want to introduce the most powerful man in the world. The most powerful man in the world. President Xi doesn't come out. Trump doesn't come out. MBS doesn't come out. Putin doesn't come out. Wang Qishan comes out. And all the Wall Street guys, most powerful guy in the world. Not, I think Xi was taking notes there when he said that. In the world, no, but and by the way, he is a devil, but he's very smart.
Very smart.
Very smart. And he cut right to the heart of it.
Yeah.
Right? He cut right to the heart of it. Tell me about populism. I got to know about this populism thing. And I asked Miles later, I actually asked John Thornton, and I asked Miles. Both Thornton and Miles had the same reaction. Thornton said, they're most concerned about a populist revolt in China. They're thinking that Lao Beijing all of a sudden starts looking around and go, why does everybody else in the world get to vote? Why is all this happening and we don't? What's the matter with us? Right? So, no, populism is, and I think that's what Getter throughout the world's going to be. It's going to be the platform for populism throughout the world for people that are banned. Because if you, as bad as it is in America, if you do this in Europe, you're automatically in Germany and places like that, you're automatically banned. So I think that is what Getter is going to become a platform for really allowing the global Lao Beijing to have a voice. And I think that's the power. That's why I said the market right now in social media the market value of these companies is huge, but if you actually look at the active users, It's not that big. And if you look at the active users, I think you're going to see on Getter, and I can already tell even today. I mean, people are saying, hey, can you call Jason or all his team because they want to onload and onboard. I mean, just look at the response. And look, I've only put up a couple of posts with my team, but it's incredible. And I do agree with Miles. Please sign up to Steve Bannon's Getter account. We want to send out good information to everybody, particularly the G News and GTV audience, which is our core audience.
班农先生说，这个王岐山是当年被布隆伯格称为全世界最有权力的人之一。他说，王岐山他虽然说他是一个恶魔，但他也是一个绝对是这个绝顶聪明的这么一个人。他说，他跟王岐山的这个见面呢，这个会议本来是很短的一段时间，但是王岐山花了几个小时一直在盘问班农先生关于平民主义，因为他知道这个王岐山包括中共这些老杂毛们，他们非常聪明，他们知道平民主义是对他们最致命的，然后他们最害怕的东西是在中国的老百姓能够站起来，他们能够了解平民主义，他们会去问为什么我们不能投票，为什么我们没有言论自由？这是所有中国老百姓，这是所有共产党他最害怕的，就是中国老百姓真正的站起来。然后班农先生说到，这也是为什么他认为这个盖特这个平台将来会这么厉害，因为他说盖特这个平台它会是真正是一个平民主义老百姓能够发声的这么一个平台，言论自由的这么一个平台。他说，虽然说你看到这些其他的科技巨头，比如说推特，他们的市场价值、市值、估值都非常的高。但是说，如果你看他们真正的用户的数据，比如说推特，它真正只有3000万的活跃的用户。这3000万中活跃的用户中，他们对这个平台的依赖性，它远远不如这盖特上的平台对我们平台依赖性。因为他们如果有一天他们说一句跟这个平台上左派人他们不喜欢的政治观点，他们随时都有可能被这个平台清理出去。而盖特永远不会去清理这个跟我们因为政治观点不同的这些人，因为我们是一个真正平民主义的这么一个平台。所以他说，这也是为什么今天这么多人给班农先生、给 Jason Miller 先生打电话，要求必须要投资盖特，必须要加入盖特。这是最重要的原因。对，
我再报一下班农先生料，这从来没有他说过。他这个我见王岐山之前，他是被他去了欧洲，呢，就中东的某国王就把他私下的邀请去了。当时呢，邀请去的就是他呢，就是他自己都不知道下山去哪儿。人家说上我私人飞机吧，我领你见个人，他也不知道见人家国王去，他就上了飞机。那个飞机是叫湾流650啊，对面就坐着这个国家的安全部部长，还有这个王子啊，他就给我打个电话 ，Miles， 你说我跟谁在一起呢？我说谁？他说班农。那时候我还不认识班农呢啊，我不认识他。我说就那个班农吗？是啊。我说你为什么跟他在一起？他说我们老大要见他。老大见之前征求一下你意见，你觉得我们该跟他建立什么关系呀？我说为什么老大要见他呀？是吧？他说普京1星期前给他打电话，说我见他肯定不方便，因为川普那个谣言的问题。他说但是这个人可能是要改变世界的人，他现在很孤单啊，得把他拉住，也就蓝金黄他，你赶快跟他见面，跟他聊聊他下一步搞什么平民运动，别把平头烧到俄罗斯来，别烧到你这个国家去。你看看啊，普京担心，中东这最大的国家的王子担心，让他的情报部长把他装上飞机，然后说再一个就是中国。你看，结果从那完了，他到那山上跟那个我的哥们儿王子国王见完了，就王岐山给弄走了。你现在他本人真的不知道，他第一次听我说，班农真的他不知道，他有时候像个孩子一样，这都是一场局。就这个世界最担心有平民主义的，就怕老百姓问我为什么不能选票，我可不可以自由发声，我的钱在哪里，我能不能有土地。所有这些国家想拉拢他，就也担心他搞平民主义。兄弟姐妹，我第一次爆料，他自己都不知道。你说吧，小王子。
Mr. Mouse said, he's going to expose something that you, Mr. Bannon, probably doesn't even know yourself. He said before you went to meet with Wang Qishan, you went to Europe, right? And in Europe, they put you on a plane to have a meeting with the king of one of the Middle Eastern kingdoms.
Do you remember this?
As well as the head of the national intelligence and security. And while you were sitting there having a meeting with the people
on the private jet.
On the private jet, they called Miles and they told me, hey guys, Miles, who I'm having a meeting with. Miles said, who? And they said, Mr. Bannon. And they said, Putin called me before, and Putin was like, I'm very worried about Mr. Bannon. I'm very worried about his populism, but it's an inconvenient time for me to meet with him. So can you please meet with him? and tell him to, he's a very lonely spot right now. Can you please, kind of buy him onto our side and, get him to not bring populism into Russia, to not bring populism into the Middle East, because we're very, very worried about populism.
That's why, sir, you can see the story 4 years ago. You leave the White House. Who worry you? Russia, China, Middle East. And, it's the Iranian, some Iran. They worry you.
Persians.
Persians. They worry Stephen King Bannon populism, send to all the country. Because all of the country, the people, they save us, the 老百姓 is asked, why we don't have land? Why we don't have the free speech? Why we no security can, protect our family and, equity?
No rule of law.
No rule of the law. No free religion.
No free religion. No free speech.
Yeah, the free speech. That's why never we talk to you about this.
And no money.
No money. Yeah. That's why it's they worry you. But I think I didn't know the Stephen King Bannon. So Bill Gates say more than 10 times. Bill Gates say, Miles, come to DC. I want you to know Stephen King Bannon. Before you in the White House, and they want to know you. Not you leave the White House. I say, Bill, I don't want to see the White House people now. For me, too sensitive. Then after you leave, Middle East, Russia, and China inside people tell Bannon here, Bannon here. Say, I meet you in the Hey Island. That's why. That's the reason.
The day the CCP shut down your conference, your speech, your warning at the Hudson Institute.
这是为什么班农救了我？后来因为我也知道班农救了我啊，我说我一定要感谢他，他离开白宫我才有见面。但是这段时间没有人知道的，大家一定问一个问题：为什么这些独裁国家都担心班农？这也是他为什么受到全世界围剿的原因。啊，现在你知道我们很多就是跟那班农没有关的账号，一开账号银行给关了，说为什么？基翻身啊，我们对面的基翻身的这个财务人员就在对面坐着呢啊。他知道很多，就因为有他班农的侄子炫班农，把账号啪就给关了。我们没关系的公司，远在巴哈马的公司，远在非洲的公司，关了账号，关了有上百个了啊！原因就是因为你和班农有关系。昨天啊，我们那个神经病的那个基金的经理说啊，你千万不要把班农这个名字放进来，因为一放进来，我们的账号都被关掉，100个也不够关。今天就是个傻货，刚才就是来给我开会，完全变了一个人啊！因为他们也是投资 YouTube、Google 啊、Facebook 啊、Uber 啊，什么代替打都投了啊。他们互相都分享信息啊。他说完了，这个盖特要搞大了啊！原来说最多1000万人，现在说可能真的超过10亿人。然后他说，哎，我说班农先生是我们很好的战略大师，而且很多现在班农先生的发路超过了我，他们现在就不一样了。说这些故事你放一起的时候，战友们，一个人的视野。和你对世界的认知和对情报的掌握和你对信仰的坚持，你才不会一会儿拿起这个，一会儿放下这个，啊，一会儿拿起这个放，一说班农不好，把它推走了；一班农好，拉回来了。就这种现实主义，没有信仰，没有原则人，你永远不会有大事业，永远不会未来。谁爱说啥说啥。就像七哥跟你七嫂子过了36年了啊，我每1小时给换个媳妇，给换俩，那你换得完吗？这个世界上？不换死自己了吗？是吧？你坚信的，你就认下去，是吧？虽然有个女朋友不能告诉你祈祷，是吧？但是开玩笑啊，说人家跟班农先生永远坚持，班农就是老朋友，就是老朋友。你说啥我也不放弃，多少人威胁我啊，多少人威胁，不能放弃，因为我知道这个历史，我知道它的力量，我知道它的优点，这是做人做事交朋友的很重要。我跟杰森·缪勒认识4年了，4年了，我跟班农先生我认识几年了，你看现在这就是开花结果了，是吧？这就开花结果了吗？对不对？这就是人生，这就是哲学，这就是信仰。来，小王子。
Mr. Mousegor said many of the bank accounts, even, they're not even, in any way, shape, or form related to Mr. Bannon. The bank accounts just get shut down. For example, G Fashion's bank accounts, some of these bank accounts are open remotely in offshore jurisdictions like Panama, and they're still shut down just because of, the little bit of association it has with Mr. Bannon. And then yesterday, this guy from the family office, was talking to Miles before the official gather lunch. He said, we think you can have maybe 3 years, 10 million users. And after today, after this guy investing in Facebook, Instagram, all these platforms too, he did some analysis and he called Mao and said, hey, Mao, I think you can probably get more than 10 million, probably 1 billion users. And he wants to invest in the company now.
Too late.
So, yeah. And then, Mao said, this is very, very important. One of the very important philosophies and he believes in life is to always stay the course, right? If you believe in the right thing, you always stay the course. You never give up midway. You never, go left today, go right tomorrow. You always stay on the same way, and you push it all the way till the end. You never give up, and you never stop fighting. And that's why he admires you so much, and that's why he admires Jason Miller so much. He's been friends with you guys for years because you guys never change the course. You're always on the path, and you're never giving up, and you always keep fighting. And he said, he's been married to his wife for more than 30 years.
36 years.
36 years. He could have changed wife every couple of days, but where would that leave him?
Couple hours maybe.
Yeah, a couple hours maybe. But he has to stay committed. He has to stay committed not just to family, but to friends, to career. He has to stay committed to his philosophy, and that's very central philosophy for him in basically everything.
And this gets to when you say endure and to tenacity and getting through it. That's the power of Lao Beijing and the deplorables. Think about it. Everything that's great in our two countries, in America and in China, the two underlying civilizations that support it, all rest on Lao Beijing and the deplorables. It all rests on their shoulders, right? If you think of how much the Chinese people have had to go through, and yet have kept the nuclear family and the great love of the family and all that, and produced the new Chinese that are now throughout the world that don't want to put up with any of the nonsense of the CCP. That is from thousands and thousands of years of just being hammered, right? That tenacity, that grit, and to keep the decency and kindness, right, means something. In the United States, all the wars, all the taxes, all civic society, it all comes down on the shoulders of the little guy. That's the persistence, and yet they keep decent. They keep a righteous heart. They're very kind. Now they're unrelenting when they go to war, but that's the power of populism. Populism just tells those two groups, hey, it's time now for the world to change. Our fight in 1776 that we commemorate today was against king, right? A king with the divine right of kings. And the founders, our founders from the Enlightenment said, no. Your rights come from God to you, the little guy, everybody. It doesn't come through a king. It comes to you. And we're going to throw the king off. We don't care how big the empire is. And that's the power right to Lao Beijing and right to the deplorables. The power, the revolution the world's going through is now the little guy is going to get a say-so and has to get a say-so, or we're on the path to destruction if we allow the elites to run it. And this is what I say all the time. If you give me a choice or people a choice between being governed in our country by the first 100 deplorables that come to a Trump rally like the other night with the red ball caps on, the first 100, or the top 100 partners at Goldman Sachs, or the top 100 professors at Harvard, or the top 100 consultants at McKinsey, or the top 100 reporters in all the left-wing media, or the top politicians of both parties, you'll have a better country and a more prosperous country run by the deplorables, just like in China. If you gave the Chinese people, today we could go online and vote, and you gave the Chinese people to take 100 just random Lao Beijing from all over China, 100, versus the top 100 cadre in the Chinese Communist Party, and gave the Chinese people a choice. Who would you rather be governed by? They understand that there will be more decency, more opportunity by the Lao Beijing. That's what this populist revolution is about on a global basis, and that's why Putin in Russia and the mullahs in Iran and certain higher ups in the Gulf Emirates, right? They understand that day is coming. That day is when the little guy. And by the way, it's not easy. In the United States, we lose a lot more than we win. But the Miles thing, we're persistent and consistent, and we just keep plugging away. And eventually, I think very soon, we're going to be totally in charge. Just like in Wan Xishan understands that Lao Beijing is going to be in charge before too long, and they're going to be thrown into the dustbin of history, like the Bolsheviks, and like the junta in Japan, like the fascists, like Hitler. It's all going to be broomed aside, right? and the little guy's going to do it. So that's what Getter is an important part. That's our nuclear weapon, right? That's our platform to really get everybody's voice out there and to really bring people on board and understand that this is a movement that is in each country, but it's also global in nature.
班农先生说，他这个非常钦佩的，无论是中国的老百姓，还是美国老百姓，还是世界老百姓，就是在过去几千年整个世界的发展文化里面，推动人这个文化往前进步的，永远是老百姓。这个干活的所有的经济发展，永远是老百姓在干活。政府这些部门、这些官员，他们永远不是这个干活的，他们永远不是产生生产力的。但是这些老百姓，他虽然肩上承担着这么多责任，他那么辛苦，但是几千年来、几百年以来，无论是中国的还是美国老百姓，他们内心深处都有一颗善良的心。这也是为什么班农先生一定要这个领导这个平民主义的原因，是因为他认为这些平民老百姓他必须要有一个发声的平台，他必须要有能够把自己声音发出来的这么一个平台。他说，如果你给美国人民一个选择，你是去选，比如说随便从昨天的川普集会上选出100个老百姓来领导美国，还是说从高盛集团选出100个精英来领导美国？他说100%美国人民会选择这个100个老百姓来领导美国，因为他们真正能代表了美国人民真正的利益。同样，他说，如果你给中国人民一个选择，随机从全中国老百姓里选出100个人来领导中国，还是说你选择中国共产党里面最精英的100个人，这两股人哪股来去领导中国更合适？他相信中国老百姓一定会选择这100个老百姓来领导这个中国。那么他说，这也是为什么盖特这个平台将来会这么伟大，因为它是真正的给了无论是美国还是中国还是世界老百姓一个真正的一个发声的平台。他说还有一个非常重要的，就是文贵先生刚才说的，一定要坚持，无论是在平民主义上还是在盖特的这个商业的道路上，我们一定要这个千万不能放弃，千万不能半途而废，一定要不断的坚持下去，在最后他一定会胜利的。然后他说，这条路呢，他一定会走得非常艰难，他并不会是非常平稳的。但是说，就像美国的当年国父建国的国父一样，他们可能大部分的时间都是一直在输的，但他们只要胜利一次，他们就真正的胜利了。所以他相信，只要我们坚持不懈，我们最终一定会取得胜利。
So, sir, I think very important. You need to share is we are all the family with the blue movement and the new federal state of China. You nobody understand what is this the real value. You and me is 1 year ago in the Statue of Liberty Manhattan downside. We are founder create together with all the family create a new federal state of China. That's the big. That is really big. You see, we pray that God give the raining, clean raining, block day, clocks day, give the big sun, and behind the founder,
I have to tell this story because I don't think it's been told. Please. So we get out to the Statue of Liberty on the Lady May, and you have to remember this is in June of 2020. New York City, the greatest city in the world, the most active, it's like a Hong Kong on steroids, right? It's completely shut down. I mean, you can't go anywhere. The city's in lockdown, like Wuhan. Now, they weren't nailing it, but it's in lockdown. You can't go, for the first time in history, since the Dutch came here, before the Dutch came here, there's not a ship in New York Harbor. New York Harbor is it's like Hong Kong, it's one of the greatest harbors in the world. No ships. There's no people. And so Miles and I are out there on and Lady May, and we're getting ready to get onto the little Lady May. And, of course, the great team at GTV is there setting up the cameras. And there's a massive storm coming in. And so I go, hey, Miles, because I'm reading and Mr. Huang's going to do it in Spain in Chinese, in Mandarin. I'm going to read it, and it's 50 pages long, the opening manifesto and proclamation. So it's going to take me a while. It's kind of complicated. I said, hey, Miles, why don't we think about doing it on the Lady May? Because we're going to get drenched. This storm's going to maybe knock over the Statue of Liberty. And Miles goes, he looks around, he looks at this, he goes, hang over a second. He goes onto the ship, and I'm standing in the back. And all of a sudden, Miles comes out, and all of a sudden the clouds start to part, and it starts to clear up. And I go, what did you just do? And he goes, I've been up there praying for Claire. And it opened up long enough for us to get on the Lady May 2 and to start the ceremony.
文贵先生刚才跟班农先生说，这个整个在2020年6月4号，在这个自由女神像前，整个我们新中国联邦的宣言的整个我们新中国联邦的建立，它是一个不仅对中国人、对历史、对所有世界人都是一个历史性的一个里程碑的事件。然后然后班农先生呢，因为他代表了整个所有万佛万神的整个大自然的这个对我们的保佑和整个这个神的力量。然后呢，班农先生说，我必须要跟大家讲一个中间的这么一个故事。班农先生说，当他就是准备开始要读这个将近50页的新中国联邦英文版的这个宣言的时候呢，他看到呢，就是说因为整个当时呢，整个这个自由女神前面整个因为疫情的原因，它是空如也，一个船都没有。Lady May 是唯一的，Lady May 两个 Lady May 是唯一的船在那个自由女神像前面。然后呢，班农先生这个时候看到了这个很近的远方呢，有一大坨的这个乌云正在向自由女神像靠近。然后班农先生他说他很担心会下雨，会打雷，然后他就跟文贵先生说，我们能不能去里面去读这个新中国联邦宣言？因为他觉得这个可能要花一些时间。然后文贵先生说，稍等一下，我要进去祈祷一下。然后文贵先生进去之后，祈祷出来之后呢，班农先生正好在外面看，突然间这个云就散开了，然后这个太阳就出来了，然后万里无云，然后刚刚好。然后所有的这个乌云全部都散去了，然后班农先生就非常惊讶，他就问文贵先生说：“文贵先生，刚刚你去干了什么？”然后文贵先生说：“我刚刚去祈祷了。”然后他说非常惊讶，就是整个这个在他读这个新中国联邦宣言，我们整个这期间一滴雨都没有下，整个是万里无云，太阳都出来了。然后他刚刚从这个读完这个宣言进到这个室内的时候，突然外面就开始下雨了。然后他说这是非常非常神奇，非常非常展现了这个万佛万神力量的这么一个事情。
I just want to say, and I know we're going long, but I just want to say about the whistleblower movement in the new federal state and what an honor it was with Miles. But the big part of that day was not just Miles and myself. It was really the global. It blew me away. The quality of the musical talent and the videos from all over the world, and the young people were involved in Europe, Australia, Japan, New Zealand, I mean, just all over the world. And then we had the 1-year commemoration, and literally every important member of the Trump movement, Mike Lindell from My Pillow, General Flynn, Peter Navarro, Rudy Giuliani, right? Natalie Winters, Raheem Kassam, on and on and on. Bill Gertz. I mean, all day for 12 hours, one member of the Trump movement come to basically say, new federal state, we're your allies, we support you. And the quality of people there at the World Commerce Center, the new World Trade Center, was unbelievable. And I just want to, kind of leave you about the whistleblower movement in the new federal state. And remember, the West would have never known at all about the CCP virus from the Wuhan lab if it had not been for the whistleblower movement in the new federal state, right? You essentially saved mankind for something that could have been far worse. That was the new federal state and the whistleblower movement. But I want to quote from President Xi's address in Tiananmen Square, right, on the 100th anniversary of the founding of the Chinese Communist Party. And I quote, a century ago, at the time of the founding, the Communist Party of China had just 50 members. 50 members. 100 years ago, 50 members. On the founding of the new federal state and the whistleblower movement, there were tens and hundreds of thousands, and now there's millions, or tens of millions. Think about it. The whistleblower movement is so much more powerful at its inception than the Chinese Communist Party, this group of criminals, right? And think about what has it done in its 1 year of birth that the CCP did? The CCP, for the longest time, for 10 and 20 years, was literally nothing, right? Very small, and had no impact really on overall China life. The whistleblower movement, the new federal state, has had an impact on world history in the most important thing facing the world, which is the CCP virus. We wouldn't have known virtually anything that happened in the Wuhan lab, or anything that was CCP, or Miles Grove's warning to the American people and to the West about Taiwan, what's coming now. And by the way, he called it weeks ago exactly what was going to be in this document. about we'll either crush Taiwan if they try to do independence. They don't have a choice. And he said that's where war's coming. If you look at the exact analogy of history of the CCP versus the new federal state, there's no even comparison. And if you see the founding documents of the new federal state, compare that to the greatest thinkers of the American Revolution. What it offers the Chinese people and the world as an alternative to the most murderous dictatorship in mankind's history that has killed and murdered 500 million innocent Chinese have been murdered by the Chinese Communist Party with basically the acquisition of the West. The West, the governments and the elites in Davos don't care. CNN said on CNN's coverage said, hey, in the 100-year anniversary, the CCP's great, but she's the star. That was their headline. She's the star, a murderous dictator on the Uyghurs and the Tibetan Buddhists and the underground house Christians and the live organ harvesting in Hong Kong, of which they say in here, oh, Hong Kong's totally autonomous. Lie after lie after lie. And if you look at the same point in history and the impact for the good of mankind that the new federal state and the whistleblower movement for all mankind have had, there's no comparison. Tens of millions of people would have died if the whistleblower movement and the new federal state hadn't stood up and told the world, in a world that didn't want to listen because they said, hey, our business leaders tell us the CCP's fine. Our political leaders tell us the CCP's fine. The NBA, the fighter, the movie star John Cena, he says, oh, the CCP are good guys. They're not a problem. All of Hollywood, all of Silicon Valley, all of Wall Street, all of corporate America, all of Davos, all the city of London, they all say CCP's fine. We're making money with them. What's your problem? We don't care if the Uyghurs are in concentration camps. We don't care if the Chinese people are enslaved. That's not our problem. That's their problem. The whistleblower movement in the new federal state of China, basically, the Chinese people, when they're free, have had a bigger impact on world history than any other people in the world today. And it's only in its first year. That's why they fear the new federal state. That's why they fear the whistleblower movement. That's why they fear Getter. That's why they fear Miles Guo and everybody right crazy Miles Guo. It is, you can taste and smell the fear because they understand their day is done. They're from the past. And that horrific embarrassment of the great civilization of the Chinese people and to be like nothing more than a bigger Korea, North Korea. It's an obscenity. The Chinese people, with their history and culture and civilization and decency, and to have that display of worship. She puts himself as a god on earth, right? A god to be worshipped by robots and automatons and people who cannot think free and do not have any connection with God. And that's what they've destroyed. That's what he stripped the Chinese people. That ceremony will be looked at 100 years from now by the Chinese, say, this was disgusting, and these people were disgusting that made our great people do it. And history is going to hold them accountable. Because she wants to take over from Mao, another murderous dictator, the Cultural Revolution, the famine, and all of it, all the murders, all the rapes, all the disease, of the environment, and that's what's held up. And Wall Street kowtows to it, and Hollywood kowtows to it, and Silicon Valley kowtows to it. All the money in the world kowtows to it. You know why? Because it gets less and make more money. That day is over. And it's the new federal state and the whistleblower movement at the vanguard of that.
班农先生说这个2年前新中国联邦，2年前新中国联邦建立的时候，然后这是改变了整个世界甚至中国人民历史的这么里程碑的事件。然后他说，你看到今年新中国联邦1周年庆典的时候，几乎整个美国保守主义者右派所有最有影响力的人物，比如说这个朱利安尼先生啊、班农先生啊，所有人都全程的13个小时、16个小时全程在场支持新中国联邦。为什么他们这么支持新中国联邦呢？是因为新中国联邦在建立1周年的时候，它真正是整个新中国联邦在短短的1年时间内，它改变了人类的世界历史，它真正的拯救了这个世界。它在世界面对这个前所未有的最大的威胁 胁的时候，也就是中国共产党所释放的冠状病毒的时候，这个时候爆料革命中国联邦站了出来，他向世界揭露了真相，他向世界告诉了世界羟氯喹包括病毒所有的这些真相，是拯救了成千上万甚至上亿的人。那么他说他提到了，就是说在这个北京所谓的这个共产党所谓的100周年庆典的时候呢，其中提到了一句，就是说100年前共产党建立的时候，共产党只有50个人。那么新中国联邦建立的时候，它建立之初，它就有至少上百万的人支持它。那么在今天，新中国联邦至少有上千万、上亿的人支持我们新中国联邦。所以他说，无论是从支持的人数上，还是说这个在新中国联邦一年以内已经拯救了世界一次，在世界整个改变了世界历史的转折。而共产党在它成立1年的时候，它屁事都没有干。所以说，新中国联邦在无论用任何的这个尺寸去衡量新中国联邦，它的伟大、它的历史性意义，都是共产党没有办法可以比较的。然后，这个班农先生继续严厉批评了这个共产党在过去100年对中国人民、对世界人民所犯下的罪行。然后他说，他坚持，他非常非常的坚信，只要我们继续坚持我们现在所做的事情，在很快的未来，中国的老百姓和世界老百姓一定会联合起来推翻共产党，真正的把自由还给中国人民和世界人民。
That's really unbelievable, sir. We have no more time.
Okay.
You know. 我要给战友们再说一下，就是本来我们今天看到跟班农先生，我把这英文版的呢给了班农先生，我手里是个中文版的。在我们直播前呢，我们和小王子啊，我们就过了大概几十分钟，就是中文版的啊，特别是一些什么任何想把中国共产党、中国人民分割开来呀、对立起来呀的企图就不得逞的，特别是对台湾的问题啊，谁要想台独就粉身碎骨啊。我结果发现小王子说：“哎，我英文和中文不一样。”这就是国内的小粉红的悲哀呀！100年来呀，我们祖宗杀家族4辈人被共产党骗，他告诉你在天安门喊啊粉碎台独，这帮王八蛋在英文里面就完全变了调。一会儿你要解释一下。第二个，就这里边很多话完全是中文和英文不对版的，但是我们中国人有几个去分辨这个事情？希望所有的战友们，你们好好把共产党的官方的英文版和中文版，你们对照一下，你就知道共产党这个骗子、流氓。共产党只要对付副总统、中国的内部党员、还老百姓、商人，任何人只要想搞掉你，你强奸，你没钱，你是骗子，你没性能力，永远这样。但是他是世界上最大的骗子，100年了。骗走了你的祖宗，现在骗走你的钱，竟然在昨天发布了什么4种方式不能继承遗产。中国人生不起，孩子到医院排队得给小费，得大钱；养不起，二度性爱、奶粉；上学上不起，找工作找不起，娶媳妇娶不起。买房子买不起，买车买不起，死了当中间有病了病不起，死了死不起，墓地坠毁，这死了还不算，你下一代都把你钱给赚好了。这4种方式你不能继承遗产。这共产党我儿你8辈祖，你们要不被天灭，天理不容啊！我希望你这段你要认真给他翻译翻译，然后让他看看这个，叫他说说这些事情，我都快受不了，我一说这浑身发抖啊。
Mr. Mao's quote said, before the live stream began, we went over the Chinese version, the English version of the speech that she gave at the Tiananmen Square a couple of days ago, and then it's completely absurd and ridiculous, the discrepancies between those two. And then, especially, when it says, in the Chinese version, it says, anybody that seeks independence for Taiwan, we're going to smash them. We're going to seek their complete and total destruction. But on the English version, it's much more toned down, softer tone. It says, we'll defeat anybody, right? There's a very, very big difference between those two words, and there's many other discrepancies between those two. And, it shows that the Chinese Communist Party is the biggest liar to have ever existed on earth. To all the people in China who still admire the Chinese Communist Party, who still follow them, Mao urges them to take a good look at this speech, the discrepancies between the Chinese version and the English version. And it's not just for this, basically every single other speech that have given by the Chinese Communist Party, every single book, document published by the Chinese Communist Party, they use the same trick. over and over and over again. And why do they do it? They want to lie. They want to deceive the poor Chinese people, the deplorables in China. In today's China, people can't afford to go to hospital. They can't afford to, when they're born, they can't afford to pay the bills. When they're sick, they can't afford to pay the medical bills. Even when they die, they can't afford to go to the cemetery because it's too expensive.
Wait, number one expensive in the world.
Yeah, it's the most expensive cemetery in the entire world. And then, just the other day, the Chinese Communist Party has published, the 4 rules for how people cannot inherit their inheritance. So even when yesterday, yeah, that happened. And so even when you die, the government takes all your money away. So, he's very angry at the Chinese Communist Party for all the lies that they've lied to not just the Chinese people all over the world. And then, at the end, he urges everybody to very carefully study this speech, the discrepancies between the 2 versions and all the other documents.
But I just want to close with the game's rigged against Lao Beijing, but it's also rigged against the deplorables. In this translation, which Miles Guo was kind enough to sign, but this is the English version everybody works off of. This is the version from the Chinese Communist Party. This is where you see the discrepancies and the lies. But no news organization went and translated from. They all speak Mandarin. Why were any of these changes? Why is New York Times or CNN or Financial Times, why don't they have their own version go, liar, they've lied, she's up there lying again. He's saying one thing to the Chinese people and they're putting one thing out that's nicer and softer to the rest of the world. They're saying one thing, it's a nationalist fire-up speech here, but they're saying something nicer. Why has the world accepted in all the news organizations that would chase Trump down for everything? Why have they just accepted Xi, the head of the greatest criminal organization in the world's history? Why has the West taken it? You know why? Because they don't want the deplorables to understand exactly what's going on. Just like they don't want Lao Beijing to understand exactly what's going on. That's the rig. That's the rigged system. That's what Getter is going to be the platform. Hopefully go away from that.
班农先生说，现在的这个现行的政治体系呢，不仅对中国人民不公平，他对美国人民也不公平。班农先生举证，就是说他手里拿的这个这个演讲呢，他这个演讲并不是说是真正的这个翻译版本，它是中国共产党翻译的这个版本。那么中国共产党在这个里面，他故意的把很多地方，他所用的词语中文和英文都完全不一样，给西方人看的是一套，给中国老百姓看的是一套。然后他。然后班农先生非常气愤的质问，就是说所有的这些大媒体 CNN 也好，福克斯也好，所有这些大媒体，他们都有能够独立流利读中文的人，他们完全有能力可以把这个中文的这个版本翻译成英文的这个版本。那他们为什么不去这么做呢？他们为什么要去依赖中国共产党他所提供的这个翻译的这个版本呢？他说其根本原因是因为他们不想让中国老百姓和世界老百姓知道真正在中国发生的事情，不想让他们知道中国共产党对中国老百姓所犯下的罪行。
I promise I'll finish on this, but back to his warning, Miles Guo's warning of 2 weeks ago. This speech right here with Xi, it's obviously a speech to fire up the Chinese people about going to war in the South China Sea and in Taiwan. Okay? This is the opening salvo, the wall of steel and everything like that. And you don't get it in here, right? This is a speech to lead China to justify a war, a kinetic war, not an economic or cyber, a kinetic war in the South China Sea and particularly on Taiwan, right? And Miles Guo warned us about that. And that is not how the West has alerted people. And as I said many years ago, unless the West confronts the CCP on information and cyber war and economic war, and because they did not stand up, as we spent months and months and months every weekend, every day about Hong Kong back in 2019, that the West not standing up for that is leading us into a kinetic war. And you can see the war toxins right in that speech. Xi's grip on the nation is loosening, and he's going to try to justify his future control by going to a kinetic war in Taiwan. It's as clear as the turning of the earth, that's what he intends to do. And that's what's so despicable about the news organizations taking the CCP's version of this and just putting that out to the deplorables.
班农先生说，他非常明确的当他看完这中文版的这个习近平的这个演讲稿之后，他非常明确的认识到，这已经不能再明显了，就是这个文国先生几周前已经向世界警告了一样，整个这个中文版的这个演讲就是习近平要带领全中国人民走向火坑，向西方发动热战，对台湾发动真正的热战的这么一个宣战的这么一个演讲。然而，在整个这个英文版本里，所有共产党提供的这个英文版本里，所有的这些对西方所要发动战争的这个意图，这些所有的这些文字全部都被抹去了，然后没有一个媒体去仔细研究中国共产党这个习近平这个演讲究竟是为了什么？为什么他们不这么做呢？因为他们想要继续奴役中国人民，因为他们想继续跟共产党在一起赚中国人民的血汗钱。然后他说，但是就像我们当年在19年忽略香港运动一样，如果我们今天再继续去忽略整个共产党的整个这个7月1号所做下这样荒唐的这个事情和习近平这个极端荒唐的演讲，那么未来我们一定是不可避免的和在共产党邪恶带领下和中国发生一场真正的一个热战。所以他说他这个所有人们一定要去仔细的去研究这个演讲稿，因为这个里面这个包含了很多非常重要的信息。
Thank you, sir. That's very important. Today I have the 200 engineer in the meeting waiting me. I go to next meeting. So, 我们现在一起呢，为这个全世界75亿的全世界人民，14亿新中国联邦同胞，香港、台湾、新疆、西藏同胞，我们祈福。We pray for the globally and new philosophy of China. 阿弥陀佛。好，谢谢，Thank you, sir.
Thank you, brother.
谢谢小王子，小王子今天一下午给他迎来的战役和荣誉，和新中国联邦人带来的这种自信，用言语无法形容。他还很年轻，他的鼓励和鲜花有可能是毒药。这个时候他需要更加的谦虚，更加的强大，希望能成为新中国联邦的新一代人的一个好的榜样继续下去。什么事情坚持久了坚持久了，天天在地上扫马路，你都是伟大的如果你是坚持不下去即使你多伟大，都会成为灾难。这是最重要对年轻人的考验。最重要的就是坚持 ，persevere, right?
Amen.
Strong,
Righteous heart.
是这样英文词吗
Perseverance.
他的英语 is too good.
Your English is very good.
Too good English. 谢谢了，兄弟们。
谢谢战友们，谢谢战友们。
That's her girlfriend.
Yeah.
好了，我得赶快去开会去了I go to the meeting.
Yeah.
Quickly come back.
Okay.
I see you soon.